Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a video all about releasing your hips. If you've struggled with tightness in your hips doing a sport, doing yoga, if you've struggled sitting cross-legged, or if there's just general hip pain due to your job or whatever it may be, this video is totally for you. I use these techniques on myself and on tons of clients, athletes, office workers, and they've always given instant relief. Stay tuned all the way to the end. I've got this special, wonderful yoga posture that I do almost all day, well, not all day, but every day for the releasing of the hips, and it's just the best thing ever, so stay tuned. All right, let's get started. So we're going to need 2 balls. You can use lacrosse balls, which are the ones that I have, or you can use tennis balls, which work just the same. Just be careful with whatever surface you're on. Tennis balls do tend to have that glidier, they're kind of like more fuzzy and sticky. So the first release that we're going to find is a glute max release. You're going to lay onto your back and you're going to have the 2 balls directly underneath your glutes. So I'll stand up in a moment and I'll show you my bum and where they're placed. But you should never be on a bone when you're doing these releases. And it just sort of looks like this. So it's almost like you're sitting on the 2 balls, but they're also helping you relax the muscles. So if you want to come up for a moment, I'll show you where the balls are placed on the glutes. If you're to look for the sacrum, which is the bone right in the middle of the 2 glutes, your balls are just going to go right to the side of that. So the left one is on the left side glute and the right one is on the right side glute, of course. And if you were to imagine your butt, if it was perfectly spherical, if it was perfectly circular, you'd be sort of in like the top and closer to the middle portion of it. So 2 big circles, top and middle portions of it, if that makes sense. 2 big circles, top and middle portion of it. And again, you're not going to be on the bone that's right in between your 2 glutes. You're going to be on the sides of that. All right, so let's get started. Once you know where you're going, you're coming back down onto your back. You're placing the balls. And then the first step here with all these release techniques is just really trying to relax. Now, especially if you have any pain in the hips, you should make sure that you're on this fleshy part of the glutes to release the muscle and not to trigger any pain. And then all you're going to do is sway the hips gently side to side. And again, with all these release techniques, it's important to really try to relax. So start to soften your low back, start to soften your shoulders and your arms, and you can go ahead and close your eyes here. Deep breaths always help with this relaxation. And as you move your hips side to side, you're really trying to relax into the contact point of the balls, and that should feel really good. Now, if your glutes are really, really tight, if there's a lot of like long held tension here, it's going to be hard to release. So I would recommend just don't worry about if you don't feel anything. That's often what happens when the glutes are really, really tight. But instead, focus on really trying to relax into whatever contact there is. A lot of us think that the more pain, the more gain, but that's so not true. It just is not true when it comes to fascia, when it comes to release techniques with any muscle, including the hips. Okay, so we're just going to lean over onto the right side, and you'll see that I lifted the left side ball out of the way, and I'm just going to lean onto the right side. This is super important. All your body weight's on this right side hip. I do want to make sure that you're on fleshy glute feeling, like muscle feeling. It shouldn't feel like you're resting on a bone. And then all you're going to do is open your right knee out to the side and then pull your right knee back in. So you're just leaning to the right with your body weight, and the right knee is going out and in. And we'll just do that 2 more times. What we're doing here is trying to move the fascia around your contact point there, giving you that bigger release. And then we'll do the other side. So go ahead and place your left side ball. You can move the right side ball out of the way. I just hold it. And then lean a little bit into the left and make sure that you're on fleshy glute muscle. And then go ahead and lean the knee out and pull the knee back in. And again, as you do this, you're trying not to tense your glutes. You're trying to relax into it and almost just like glide your bones. So it's very effortless. It's very non-muscular, if that makes any sense. All right, just do one more out and in with your knee, and then go ahead and move your balls out of the way. Take a moment. You can windshield wiper your knees side to side. Just feel that difference in your hips. Hopefully that rebound of fluid rushing back into those contact points. All right, and let's move on to our next exercise for the glutes. So you can move those balls out to the side. And for this one, we're going to find low lunge. So bringing your left foot forward and your right foot back. You can keep your hands down onto the mat here. If you do have yoga blocks, they can be helpful underneath your hands. And just want you to make sure that your stance is long enough that as you sink into your hips, you're feeling the stretch along the front of the right hip here, maybe a little bit that left side glute. Now, if you do feel anything in the pinchiness of the front of your left hip, I want you to rise up a little bit just to alleviate that pinchiness, okay? If there is no pinchiness, you keep your hands down. So from here, you're putting the toenail side of that right foot down into the mat and pushing down with that right leg. Notice that it doesn't really look like anything. My knee isn't lifted. My thigh isn't really doing anything, but I am essentially engaging. I'm pushing down through that right foot to feel this release move all the way up into the right side hip. And I'm going to relax that and lean the hips back a little bit and then do it again. So I'm leaning forward into the hips and then pushing firmly through the right foot. You can almost imagine like you want to soccer kick your right foot into the mat, and you should feel that rebound all the way up into the right hip. And then let it go, relax your foot, and just do it one more time. Push down through the foot. Good. And when you're all done, just make sure you've switched sides so you do your other leg as well. And remembering that this is that release for the front of your hips here. Pushing down and then releasing. All right. So you've made it into our bonus stretch time. This is my favorite posture, especially after a long run, anytime my hips are feeling tight. This is going to happen in a seated posture. I'll just spin towards facing you. So we'll do left leg under and right leg over. I'm going to show you the full variation, and then I'm going to show you all the variations that we can do. So eventually, this pose is called Gomukhasana. Eventually, what we want to do is stack up the knees. So making sure that the knees do not hurt in these postures. Nothing should be painful. This is to alleviate pain, not to cause pain. You're going to pull your legs apart so that the right knee is on top of your left knee and your butt is down onto the mat. Now, if this is super easy for you, if this is just like, yeah, my legs they could always do this, you can straight away lean forward and you'll get that lovely, lovely stretch deep into your glutes. If your knees are like just not having this, they're not coming into this position, I'd rather you lay on your back, and you can do this exact same position onto the back with your right knee pulled in, hold it, pull it towards your chest, and pull it towards, if you imagine like the midline of your body where your nose, your chest, that like straight midline is, you're aiming the knee for that midline. And doing it just like this will give you that lovely stretch through that outer hip and into the deep external rotators. Now, if you don't feel very much, you lift your other leg, place it underneath the right knee. Again, you're looking for knees to stack, but if it doesn't, that's fine. And grab whatever you can grab and pull in from here. Now notice, if your butt lifts a lot off the ground, like your tailbone is lifted and your butt lifts a lot, you won't feel very much in the hips. So please put your tailbone down, and you're just gently pulling that knee in enough until you can feel that stretch. And I think most people do feel it. If you don't, leave me a comment. We can talk. It's a lot of things that can go wrong in this posture, a lot of things that we might need to adjust so that we can feel it a little bit better. All right, once you've done your first side, make sure you do your other side. Yeah, 2 legs, 2 hips, got to treat them to the same lovely releases. And if you're seated, you're trying to stack up your knees. You can see in my video here that my left knee doesn't stack over the right knee. It's just my left leg is tighter. It happens. We all have imbalances. Or again, I'll show you too on the back. You can do it on the spine with your left knee pulled in, aiming it towards the midline, or right knee over that left knee and you're pulling in. All right. Please do hold that posture for a little bit of time. You can stay there for like maybe a minute or 2 minutes. That's about 10 or 15 deep breaths. And hopefully you'll arise from it. I know that you'll arise from it with a lot looser hips, a lot looser pelvis. If you enjoyed this video, I do have a very special video for you over on Patreon, which I will link up down below. It's also just patreon.com/sandyhewen-yoga. And it's all my favorite hip exercises, all my favorite hip releases, all my favorite hip stretches, all in one video in 30 minutes. So head on over there. It's exclusive content for you. So go ahead and take a look. And the link is down below. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.